All right, let's go down to Texas as well. Dana Loesch is a radio talk show host and NRA spokesperson, and she joins us live. Good morning to you, Dana.
Good morning.
Good morning to you all.
So there's a story out this morning that apparently San Diego County has joined the lawsuit against the sanctuary state of California, joining the Department of Justice lawsuit as well. Are we reaching a critical mass? Because slowly but surely, so many localities and now counties in Southern California are saying, hey, Sacramento, Jerry Brown, just stop it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Steve. Thanks for having me this morning. You know, speaking for myself on this and looking at California, I know Los Alamitos was one of the first cities to push back against California's sanctuary state. They said that these are laws that are completely disregarding the Constitution, and there are a number of Californians that are tired of the lawlessness, and they're tired of seeing the lawlessness paraded around by those members of the political class in whom they invested their authority to carry out the law. And they're also tired of being worried in their own communities. I mean, there was the DOJ actually, or DHS, sorry, came out with a report saying that, what was it, 1/3 of about 150 MS-13 gang members that had been in custody were released in California. California is protecting the criminal element at the expense of citizens' safety, and California residents have had enough.
I think it was 2/3 were from California.
What about the governor? The governor is saying that Fox News is exploiting this issue. We've interviewed so many parents that have lost their kids by criminal illegal aliens that continue to get back in our country, or they were never detained by ICE or never sent back to their countries.
Yeah, I would love for the governor to look at Kate Steinle's family and tell them that that anyone but California is exploiting this issue, or say the same thing to Jamil Shaw Sr., whose son would be alive today if perhaps California government had done their job. I think that's kind of a disgraceful remark for the governor of California to make, because it's his own lawlessness that's pushed this problem, not Fox News. I mean, blaming Fox News for your refusal to uphold the Constitution and your refusal to work with ICE and make sure that your citizens are safe, that's a dereliction of duty. That's not media malpractice.
Yeah, I mean, you got a choice. What's more important, American citizens or the world citizens? You were elected for American citizens, and that's really that's really where the rubber hits the road. There's another story out there as we get closer to the midterm elections. Believe it or not, we still got months. The Planned Parenthood has an ungodly amount of money going to the Dems for the midterms, $30 million. And yet they're still being subsidized with taxpayer dollars. Does that seem legitimate?
No, it's appalling. I mean, I've said this before, and I've talked about this on my program, and it's infuriating to me to see so many taxpayers robbed, and that's what it is. You have innocent American taxpayers who are being robbed to pay an organization that in turn spends our money on Democrat campaigns. We as Americans are being forced to fund Democrat campaigns, because that's who Planned Parenthood funds, to the tune of $500 million a year. This is happening, and this is a for-profit business, and if they can afford to spend millions and millions of dollars on all of these Democrat politicians and to pay for and buy influence in Washington, D.C., well, then they can very much afford to operate without the indulgence of society's forced tax funding, and that's what this is. I mean, it's appalling, and this was one of the things that I was in this omnibus that I wish had not been continued, because we had a chance to not continue to fleece taxpayers to support Democrats.
And I'm glad you mentioned that at the end, because ultimately, I mean, if Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell didn't want it there, they got pens. They could have scratched it out, but no, it went right through. So blame the Republicans.
Yeah, it did go right through. Under Republicans, which is appalling. I mean, and Republicans, they pretended to hear what voters were saying about wanting to keep more of their own money and about limited government. This isn't the way to do it, to rob the people that voted for them to pay for their opponents. I mean, they're financing their opposition. They're financing Hillary Clinton. $38 million was spent by Planned Parenthood on Hillary Clinton. We paid for it.
They said that they did it so they got fully funded Defense Department, but it shouldn't have been that trade-off. Meanwhile, James Comey's doing his endless media tour, and I think it's beginning to blow up on him. He's getting even tougher questions now, and he seems to have no answers. Talking about politics. Listen.
You sound like a political commentator to me more than
I don't mean to be.
director.
I don't care whether people support a Republican or a Democrat, because I'm not either. I don't care who they support. I hope the conversation will start with values and come to policy second, because we're always going to fight about guns and taxes and immigration, but all we are as this country is a collection of values, and that's what unites Republicans and Democrats. And I hope that's not a political statement.
What's your reaction, Dana?
Yeah, Ainsley, you can't pretend to lecture Americans from this ivory pedestal about values and virtue while simultaneously making snarky remarks about the size of the president's hands and the circles under his eyes. He stepped all over the message of his own book because he wrote it like he's Regina George writing the Burn book. That's what James Comey sounds like. I have never seen a cattier man than James Comey. And so he gets in his own way. He tries to portray himself as this virtuous example that everyone in Washington should follow, but he gets in his own way because his book is so petty. No one's paying attention to anything else in his book. They're all talking about how petty he is, and he knows better than that. I just think he is. He wanted to. He has a spine of jelly. He was able to be influenced by public opinion and politics. He was able to be influenced by Loretta Lynch. He was a bad FBI director, and he tried to, because of his bad leadership, he attempted to stain all of the really good FBI agents that are under him.
Yep, and now he's attempting to sell as many books as possible during this book tour. If he'd like to stop by our show, we'd love to have him, but I don't think, he's going to just very
I'd love to watch
places.
him on your show.
I know. Mr. Comey, if you're watching, call us.
Come on.
All right. Dana, nice to see you.
Dana.
Thank you.
All right, Jillian has some headlines for us.
That's right. Good morning to you guys. Let's get you caught up on this scary story that we've been following. The engine that caused a deadly explosion on a Southwest plane takes off every 2 seconds. More than 2,400 planes with that specific engine are in the air at any given time. And we are hearing for the first time from the plane's heroic pilot. You see her right there, Tammy Jo Schultz, releasing a statement saying, quote, "We all feel we were simply doing our jobs." Schultz also mourning the loss of passenger Jennifer Reardon.